I'm fired.
From this ferry operator in the Seattle area.
No, I will not take the vaccine.
To a pair of health department workers in Rock Island, Illinois.
I am being escorted out.
It's been playing out across the country.
Where we get uncomfortable as Texans is with the mandate.
Employees asking for a religious exemption to the COVID vaccine, and that includes in D.C. In September, the office of Mayor Muriel Bowser announced 475 city employees were seeking a religious exemption, 419 of them from the fire department.
I am a follower of the teachings and examples of Yeshua. Many people call him Jesus.
Will Jones is one of those firefighters.
While in D.C. we have, I think, over 70% of people that have had at least one vaccine. On the continent of Africa, it's 2.2%. That is an incredible disparity in terms of life-saving health intervention.
And Jones says that this inequity counters his religious beliefs relating to what he called the oneness of humanity. He argues that those with religious exemptions, like him, should be able to get regular testing as an alternative to the vaccine. So what are firefighters like Will and others across the country up against? Let's verify. What are the steps towards getting a religious exemption to the vaccine? Our sources are a trio of employment law experts: Lawrence Gostin from Georgetown Law, Peter Myers from the George Washington University Law School, and Matt Mihalich, an attorney at the Tully Rinke Law Firm in D.C. First, our experts say that the religious exemption needs to be sincere.
Certainly if the person is genuinely sincere in that it would harm their, core religious values.
Somebody cannot just wake up tomorrow morning and say, oh, my personal religion is against the COVID vaccination.
Next, employers can ask questions.
You need to have some kind of a process. Tell me why.
And Mihalich tells us that some of the precedent here dates back to the days of the active military draft, when many looked for religious exemptions.
During those inquiries, during that cases, the prevailing standard was that any fact which casts doubt on the veracity of that claim, of the claim of religious sincerity, is relevant.
At this point, employers will need to decide. If they accept a religious exemption, they'll need to provide a reasonable accommodation if possible. Think regular testing or working from home. Or they could reject the request, in which case it would likely lead to the next step here: litigation.
As in so many things in America, it winds up in the courts. So I would expect that this question will be decided by judges ultimately.
Meaning this dispute over religious exemptions could be far from over. So we could verify a religious exemption must be sincere and your employer is allowed to ask questions. And while reasonable accommodations are on the table, it could be denied, which could land your case in front of a judge.
If they say you have to get the shot, we don't accept your religious exemption, would you just leave your job?
I wouldn't leave, because I'm going to stay as long as I can and fight for my job. If they fire me, if they revoke, my ability to work here, then that is what happens. I will still continue to fight back for my job.
In Washington, D.C., I'm Evan Koslof with your Verify.